Hey guys, welcome back. Podcast number 3. It's Bourbon with Bros. And guess what? Tonight we're doing 2 special things. We're going to have a St. Paddy's edition, hence the green shirts. And we brought in our first guest. So this is Dan Strohsack. We're at his place this is the Crooked Leaf Cigar Lounge. So we're going to sit here tonight, we're going to ask Dan a bunch of stuff, and we're going to pop a couple of bottles. Welcome, Dan.
Well, thanks guys for having me. Ever since you guys came online, I've been following you and hoping that you guys would come here and didn't want to bother you. But I appreciate it, and I look forward to us doing several more podcasts here.
Nice.
Very good.
Tell us a little bit about the place, Dan.
So this is a Crooked Leaf Cigar Lounge. We've opened up in August of last year, so August 1st, 2025. We have 3 floors, with the first floor being open to the public. We feature a full bourbon bar. We're very bourbon heavy. We also have a walk-in humidor that is the old bank vault from this building that was built in 1901. We feature a large range of different brands of cigars, as well as the bourbons and a few other spirits. Our menu for cocktails is very bourbon specific, so most of your drinks that you would have in, whether it be a vodka base or tequila base, we've changed the menu around to make it bourbon specific. There's been a lot of ladies that come in here that say, hey, we don't like bourbon, and we like vodka, or we like this, and I said, you know what, we came up with a drink just for them, and I said, if you don't like it, we'll buy it. We've yet to buy, that cocktail for them. But the second floor is for members, we have several different tiers of membership. It's got lounges, TVs, pool table, dartboard. Then we go to the third floor, and that's kind of more like our wellness floor, and we've got a wood-burning sauna up there. We get that thing up to 170 degrees, and you can do sauna sessions up there. We've got showers, relaxation rooms, common areas. If you want to eat, sauna, and watch TV or a game, we've got that too. So a little bit of everything. This is a place that, from the first floor to the third floor, there is no place like in the United States, and we're right here in the heart of Lorain. So.
And Jason, you're a member, right?
Of course, yeah. Joined up right from the beginning. Out of the drinks that you have, Dan, what would you say is probably your favorite, your masterpiece?
It's definitely going to be the Crooked Leaf Old Fashioned. That was created in my basement, at my basement bar, which probably most drinks out there that have been successful are made, kind of like that, experimenting and doing different tastings. It's our #1 seller by far. And then the #2 drink is what we call our Kentucky 409. And that is a little bit more of a tropical drink. It's got your tropical juices in it. It is very well liked by the ladies. So, I tell people often, hey, just because it's a cigar bar, just because it's a bourbon bar, don't be afraid to bring your wife or girlfriend in, and because we got something for them. So,
you're taking an espresso martini. Brought a couple ladies in that only drink vodka. The first time they had a bourbon forward espresso martini, just the look on their face, I can't believe this is bourbon.
Right, and the thing is with that too is we use an overproof Brothers Bond cask strength with that too. And being that is such a strong pour for a lady especially, we kind of go down to an ounce of that bourbon in there, so you're getting your alcohol. You're not getting the overpowering bourbon flavor in it, but yet you still get your espresso flavors. And, obviously we add the egg white to it to make it a little silky smooth. That helps with we want to get everybody that likes the vodka or the tequila base to say, you know what, bourbon's not so bad, and to get them into our realm a little bit. And I'll be honest with you guys, the amount of ladies that we have come in here on a regular basis that come in here for our bourbon drinks is only growing. It's awesome.
And you've got quite a few female members that come in and smoke cigars here too, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we have, not only do we have couples that are members together here, but we have, I would say, anywhere from 15 to 20 ladies that come in here. They'll grab a bourbon, they'll grab an old fashioned, and they'll grab a cigar, and they'll sit there and they'll hang out at the bar with us. And, it's great because this place is somewhere that we can have all walks of life, have ladies, have guys, and everybody's welcome, and everybody enjoys themselves, and and if they love bourbon, well, they came to the right place. So
That's what I've noticed. I've noticed that I've talked to some people here that they're cigar people, and they come in here for the cigars. And then I've talked to people that aren't cigar people, and they come in here for the bourbon too. So that's something I've noticed about your place too.
I want to make a couple observations. This is my first time here. I love cigar bars, lounges, and I love bourbon. So the first thing is, when I walked in here, there's probably a dozen guys sitting downstairs smoking a cigar. The ventilation here is awesome. I have a problem with some of the cigar lounges I've been to lately. Ventilation's horrible. Makes it uncomfortable to sit there very long. The second thing is your drink menu. Your prices are extremely reasonable for a pour, and you actually do have some good looking mixers on there.
Oh yeah, and going to the ventilation system, we are one of the first in the area as far as cigar. Yeah, you've got a couple in some neighboring communities, but here in downtown Lorain, we're one of the first cigar bars. And so when we worked with the city, they were great with us, and they really didn't know where we should go with ventilation, so they gave us an idea where they thought we'd want to be, and we kind of doubled it. And then we went and doubled it again with the different type of air cleaners, the rabbit airs, and to make sure that the environment is not one that's people are going to come in and their eyes are going to burn. We just don't want that. We want people, like you said, that come in that don't like cigars necessarily, but like a good cocktail, and they can sit there and enjoy it without being come and smoke. And that we're expanding our menu a little bit, so we got a spring menu coming up here in about 10 days that is going to be phenomenal. So I can't wait to have you guys in and try that out. And,
I would say probably half the visits that I've made here wasn't my idea to come. It was Tanya's. She'll be sitting there and go, I really want one of those. Your winter menu, especially. She was like, we got to get back out there. I need that drunken gingerbread.
Oh yeah.
And she loved that drink.
Well, guess what? Let's get into a pour, and we can still keep talking about this
course.
while the whiskey in our hands, right?
Absolutely.
All right. So Jason was able to find this one for us yesterday, right? It is the Kentucky Owl. It is the St. Paddy's Day edition. That's why we kind of wanted to do the St. Paddy's. It's coming up next week. Jason, what do you know about it? What do you want to talk about?
Well, Kentucky Owl, they're an incredibly solid distillery, across the board. They're confiscated. It's a phenomenal bourbon. Each of their individual flagship offerings, as well as their rye, are just some of the most sought after ones out there. The St. Patrick's is a really approachable version. It's a little bit on the sweeter side, but it's got some of those hints that almost is reminiscent of an Irish whiskey, without that kind of overwhelming peatiness that you sometimes get from an Irish whiskey. Dear Lord, Toby's trying to murder me right off the bat.
That's something glad he gave me the bottle to pour my own.
I'll pour my own.
You know this is going to be.
If there's one thing I'm good at, it's pouring bourbon.
Yeah, you are. I mean, it's definitely, it's got a great color to it. It's got a beautiful aroma to it. Hand me the bottle, Toby, because I haven't memorized all the details on it.
100 proof.
Yeah, this is a 100 proofer. Not a bottled in bond, but it is a 100 proofer. It's a blend, but it's a blend of 5 to 7 year bourbons. They call it a limited release, but it's relatively available on the shelves. I got lucky. I found this one at Joseph's Beverage out in Toledo. They were actually clearancing them off, so I got it for a really reasonable price. But you really can't go wrong with a Kentucky Owl. So, gentlemen,
Cheers. Cheers. Yeah, it definitely has the initial taste of a little bit of an Irish whiskey to it. Very good though.
You ever had it before, Dan?
Never had this one
first
before.
one?
Jim, you're our nosing expert. What are you getting on the nose?
We gotta talk about the nose.
Okay, that was not meant to be a slam.
So it's a little corn forward, a little caramel, and maybe a little fruit. I can't tell which fruit it is, but it's a little fruity.
It's got, just as you twirl it in the Glen, the legs on this thing is phenomenal. It's got a really viscous approach to it. And
You like that word, don't you?
yeah, I do. Hey, I didn't say mouthfeel. Of course, I just did.
It actually from swirling it, it actually stays at the top of the glass after it's swirled.
When you consider that like an oily, like the way it sits on there.
Or
Yeah,
some
I mean-
people say it has legs.
Yeah.
Yeah, you think back to like the first time you had a Basil Hayden, right? You know, good bourbon, but it's an 80 proofer, and it's got almost that feel that it's just a little thin, right? Kind of like, you know, I won't denigrate it to compare it to a Crown Royal, but you know, similar to that where it's, you know, you're getting the alcohol flavor, but it just doesn't have the body behind it.
Right.
And you know, good bourbon's got that kind of that viscosity where it comes through, and it really hangs on the tongue, and it helps on the finish. This one's got a nice finish. It builds, and then it holds, and I'm getting a lot of that brown sugar on the back end, and I'm getting a little bit of that, just a tiny hint of that peat that I'd expect from an Irish whiskey as well.
Right.
Yeah, that's I was going to say about this finish is it's consistent. Like it's there. It doesn't go away. It doesn't get any more harsh. It doesn't. It's nice, long, consistent finish.
Stay right on your tongue so you can just keep tasting it.
Yep.
You don't feel like you gotta
Right.
keep drinking to get
Right, exactly.
the taste
You
back.
sit
on
there
there.
and enjoy it. Yeah.
And my problem is I didn't spend too much time tasting. I enjoyed it. Of course, I poured myself a little less.
Well, then
so-
pour yourself,
Oh, no, no.
pour yourself a little more.
That's what we do here, buddy. It's meant to be shared, right?
Hey, that's right.
We
It
drink
is.
it.
You're gonna sit through a high school basketball game later. So they might need some of this.
Yeah. And the 40-minute ride there with,
Yeah, well, you know.
we'll leave that one go. But
Well, Toby, I know you're a real big fan of 2XO bourbons.
Mhm.
And I think one of the interesting things is the original distiller for Kentucky Owl was a guy named Damon Dedman.
Yep.
And Damon, yeah, you know, so he left, he became the distiller at 2XO, but this was one of his original recipes.
Yes.
Really?
Hey, what's your 2XO? What's your favorite of theirs?
Boy, you know, I don't know. I'm just I can't even remember the name of that one.
Is it the Gem?
The Gem of Kentucky. That's what it was. That was one of my favorite double oaked, and that's what 2XO is. For those that don't know, that's all they do is they double oak their every bourbon they do. It's double oaked, and it's just a phenomenal taste. And we'll probably have that in one of our episodes here in the near future too. So do a couple of 2XOs.
You brought the Gem of Kentucky over one time for a bottle of sugar and went to the house, and oh, good lord. I think that was our warm-up pour, and it was like,
Yeah.
we could stop now. This is pretty damn good.
Just to get warmed up. So Dan, what brought this to fruition for you?
so it's kind of funny how it all worked out. And it started just like a lot of things on social media.
Mhm.
I dropped my wife and mother-in-law off over at the Palace across the street, and I went over to Speak of the Devil, and I had myself a cocktail, and I did a post. I like to check in. I like to help support the businesses, and I think I did a hashtag like I need to open a speakeasy, something. I've always wanted to. I've got a mobile bar that we do events with, and just so happened that my business partner Miles had just bought this building, and he had a vision of wanting to do a cigar bar, and he wanted to do bourbon bar, but he was a cigar guy, and he didn't really have anybody that that he trusted to get into the bourbon world with and the bar world with. So he contacted me and said, "Hey, I got a place I need you to come down and check out." And so immediately I told my wife, I said, "Hey, I got to go check something out downtown Lorain." Mind you, I've been by this building 100 times, or if not more. But I stopped in, looked at it. He told me kind of what his opinion and what his thoughts were with the business moving forward. And I think about 2 days later, we started working in here. And that was last December. So December of 2024 was when we first started in here. And from there, I did the build, and I've been running day-to-day operations, and collaborating with my bartenders for creating the menu, and it's just exploded from there. I mean,
awesome.
It's the friendships that we've made because of this place, especially with you guys. it's unbelievable. Our members are phenomenal people. I mean, they're big, and I mean, last time you were here, I think I said, hey, there's some guys upstairs with some bourbon. Next thing you know, it turned into an hour-long tasting event, and then they're coming downstairs to me and say, hey, you got to try these bottles, and I'm like, oh my God, you're gonna kill me. But I did, and it's been something that not only that I think Lorain needs, but I think that there's a group of guys that can share in their passion with bourbon, sharing their passion for cigars, the bond between the two, you know, and it's a place just to bring people together. And, you know, you can come up here, watch a game, you can just sit downstairs. You know, we got, like you said, there was a bunch of gentlemen downstairs sitting, having cigars, and that's every day. You know, and it's great. I mean, we have people come in and they'll bring me a bottle, you know, just, hey, why don't you try this one? I see you don't have it on the shelf. Have you tried this yet? And it's just been a great experience all the way around.
That's great. That's great. And then, like you said, that, I mean, and you said there is no other place like this in the United States right now. And to have something like that right here in our backyard, to be able to share that here, I mean, it's great for us, and I know it's good for you, and I know we're going to keep supporting you too. So we appreciate this.
You know, and I appreciate it because, you know, you look at some of the other establishments that have been around that are, you know, somewhat whiskey or bourbon heavy. You know, they have a great selection. I mean, Speak of the Devil, for example.
Yeah.
You know, but they've been around 8 years, so they've developed other relationships. You know, they've had time to build up their inventory. So that's what I'm working on. Is I'm working with different distributors, trying to get different things in here. We're working on doing a few different things where, believe it or not, we're going to do like a Martini Expo here.
Nice.
But our Martini Expo, our part of it is we're going to do 2 martinis with bourbon.
All right. Oh.
So, you know, we're going to change the game up a little bit.
Sir. Yes, sir.
And you know what? I think that if you play on the right flavors with cocktails, you can make a bourbon martini just as good as any other martini out there. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to let people know that, hey, bourbon is great by itself, and it can be just as good with some mixers in either a regular cocktail or a martini or whatever you want. We can do that with a bourbon just by playing on some of the flavors, some of the flavor notes. And so we're trying to just expand here and make Lorain and bourbon, you know, kind of come together and bring people together that way. And so far, it's been wonderful. You know, we've, like I said, 6.5, 7 months we've been in business, and you know, we talked to you probably when we were 4 to 5 months into building this thing, and a year ago today, I would not think that we'd all be sitting here today, you know, doing this. But it's been phenomenal. The support's been phenomenal, and again, you know, I can't thank you guys enough for you know, choosing us to come and hang out and do this. So
we appreciate you having us here. Like you said, you want us to come back, and we want to come back. So we'll be here quite a bit. I hope.
great.
Well, I'll tell everybody who's watching. I mean, obviously the drink menu here is fantastic, and the atmosphere to hang and enjoy some social time and spend time smoking cigars with people is great. Don't sleep on that sauna. That sauna is amazing. I mean, it's an 18-person wood-fired sauna. You know, we were down in Cleveland a couple of weeks ago at Schwitz, which was an amazing time. But that's, you know, kind of the old school steam fired.
Right.
But there's just something different with that wood fire. That radiant heat coming off the wood.
I tell you what, I love every bit about this place. Not only because of the history. I mean, it's built in 1901. Thew Shovel, the gentleman, Captain Thew, who built this building, you know, the history with him and his company that worked on the Panama Canal, worked on Ellis Island. He needed a space to put all his money, apparently, so he built the building. And then, you know, you look at all the history. We have the Puerto Rican home bar here, you know, and then we add in that sauna factor. And out of all the things here, besides the bar, you know, that wood-fired sauna, I'm telling you what, is probably one of my favorite things to do. Even if it's just starting it up and getting people in there and letting them experience it. You know, they grab a cocktail and a cigar downstairs, they come up here and I talk them through what I would normally do for a sauna session. And like Jay said, you know, the Schwitz has its own history, has its own feel. But we're trying to do something a little different here. You know, we want you to indulge in the cigars. Definitely want you to indulge in the bourbons and trying different things. That's why every chance I get, if I can get something different on the shelf that nobody normally has, you know, I will. You know, it doesn't matter to me the cost of it, because you can't put a price on an experience.
Exactly.
And you know, that's why that sauna is just that extra little bit of experience that we add. And if you guys haven't tried it yet, please do. I want you guys to try it. Right now I think it's at about 170 degrees.
I put my head up there earlier.
It's, you know, as long as you're hydrated, you know, doing a couple sessions in there, coming out, having a little bit of a cigar, having a sip of either some bourbon or, you know, an old fashioned. To me, it just doesn't get any better than that. I mean, this is the closest place to heaven that I've ever found. So,
It's awesome.
All right, Dan. Well, we rate bourbons on a 1 to 4 because there's usually a 4-bro scale, right? We want to change it to 5 today because Dan's here.
We'll go to 5 today.
Go to 1 to 5 because we have a guest. So Dan, we're going to ask you what you think of this, right? I mean, I can start. You don't have to put it
okay.
on the spot,
You
right? So
can
we'll
go
go-
last. You can go last. Give you a minute to
We'll
think.
go on 1 to 5 today. All right. So I don't get. We always discuss this. I don't get the smells and the stuff like some of these other guys do, Jason and especially Jim. But the sweetness on this, the oak. I do get the oak on this one really well.
Yep.
This was probably one of my first favorite bourbons that I had, and since, you know, there's a bunch more. So I'm gonna rate this pretty high. I guess if we're going 1 to 5 today, I'm going like a 4.2 on this because it's something that it's almost like an Eagle Rare kind of to me, right? A little bit elevated with the sweetness. So this is like a 4.2 for me.
Okay. And I'll go next because I enjoyed it as well. You know, the peat is one thing that, like you say, in Irish whiskey or in some single malt scotches, peat is not my friend when it comes to my taste buds. It's just not something I like. But this one, it, like you said, it has the sweetness. It's got a great first taste on the tongue, great finish. I'm probably gonna have to go with 4.3, 4.4, somewhere in there on this one. I enjoyed it. It's something I could definitely drink on a daily basis.
Nice. Yeah, I agree with Dan. You know, when it comes to single malt scotches, if it's peat, I'm out because I don't want to drink what tastes like I'm licking potting soil. That is not my jam. But the sweetness in this really balances out. It almost gives it kind of an oatmeal kind of flavor to it, where you get that earthiness, but it's muted. You know, I'm right there with Chris. This is about a 4.2 for me as well. This is definitely something I keep on the shelf. It's not an everyday because it's a little harder to find sometimes, but if I could get it, I'd drink it every day. I work would suffer, but
What was your number?
4.2.
4.2. All right. Because I'm right there too. I think I'm about a 4.2 to 4.3. We talked about the 2XO. I'm an oak guy. I like that, and I got a lot of that. And that's what I like with that. So 4.2, 4.3.
We got Jim.
So, I am actually a big peat fan. I love, I actually did the opposite. I went from Scotch to bourbon.
Ooh.
Everybody normally goes from bourbon to Scotch. Not generally in favor of a lot of blended whiskeys. This one just is different. They balance it really well. I like standout flavors, and there's a couple of them in this. So I'm gonna go about 4.4 on this.
Well, so it's funny because like I have that Buchanan 18 that somebody recommended to me one time, and I liked it so much. I'm like, I can't start collecting Scotch too. Like, this is crazy. I got enough money into what I've got, you know. But
Between bourbon, golf, and now this frickin' 3D printing that I'm doing, I texted Buddy today. I need to find cheaper hobbies like bird watching or something, because this stuff is getting expensive. What was the video you sent us today?
what was that
It was like
about the cocaine?
it's like maybe I should start doing cocaine. It'd be cheaper. It's cheaper to do cocaine.
Probably right.
Yes, sir.
We're gonna go into the second one then. You know, let's get into that, and we'll keep talking to Dan as we go. I'll have Jason open this up while I talk about it a little bit. This is the Woodford Reserve Double Double Oaked. So there you go. We got lucky with this one. I've actually been searching for this one for a couple of years now. I had it down with Jim and some of his friends at the boat reunion in Huron one time, and just fell in love with this thing. So I've been looking for it. It's very sweet to me, but I guess I should tell you, I found it at Giant Eagle on Wednesday. Now they don't do their drops until Saturday most days.
Right.
And I don't know if the lady working behind the counter was just unaware that she was allowed to do that, but they had the full line of the Jefferson's Reserve that came out and the Jefferson's Ocean. So I just wanted, because we're gonna do a bottle share here tonight too, right? With your group, your folks downstairs. And so I said, hey, do you have that Jefferson's Reserve single barrel that came out? And she goes, yeah. And she brought the single barrel, the Jefferson's Ocean cask strength, and the Jefferson's Ocean single barrel out all at the same time. And I was like, cool, I'll get them, right? And like, just line them up. So she's ringing them up because she said she'd do it one at a time. Don't tell anybody, right? All you people out there, don't tell them. Don't go and get me in trouble. So she comes out and she brings this bottle. She's like, is this any good? And my face just went, oh, that is like the thing I've been looking for. If you'd have told me that you had that, I probably would have bought these other three. But in the same token, yes, please ring that up.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, so we'll go on this real quick. This is a 72% corn, 18% rye, 10% malted. It's only a 90 proof. Tell me what you guys smell. Tell me what you think.
This isn't, I mean, obviously being a double-double, this is an oak bomb.
Yeah.
It's
dark.
on the nose.
Yeah,
But it's, I mean, the color is phenomenal to it. But, I mean, on the nose, you get the oak, obviously, it just punches you right in the face. But behind it, there's just like that subtle hint of vanilla that just really pops to the surface.
Yeah. I actually get like 5 different aromas out of this. It's very robust. You get a little bit of tobacco, vanilla, just a touch of the caramel, and a ton of the oak.
And I've had a couple different double-doubles that they were too harsh, you know, like licking a tree.
Okay.
But good Lord, this is smooth.
And some of the double doubles that we've had, or the triple oaks that we've had, it's almost like you're mixing a little bit of bourbon with campfire, you know, almost.
Yeah.
This is definitely not like that.
No.
This is on point as far as the oak goes.
What year would you say the one we had first was? Was that a 23, 24?
It's probably like 21 or 22. It's been a few years.
So this would be the 26, obviously, that they just released. They only release it once a year, so it's really hard to get. I'm, definitely surprised that we were able to pick this up. But I remember going to Woodford to, do the tour, and then I stopped and they had one up on the bar, and I'm like, wow, all right, how much is that pour? And they're like, $200. And I'm like, wait a minute, MSRP on that thing is only $200. Why are we paying $200 a pour? But that's what we got it for. I got it for $200. So it's on the top end of what I usually spend for a bottle, but it's only because it's been, like Jim said, on that Dick Old 12, that was your wanting to go to one, and this was the one I've been chasing. So
I'm kind of glad you mentioned how much pour was there, because one of the big things that we hit on here with not only our cigars but definitely with our bourbon pours is we want to be friendly with our prices. My dad and my grandpa always said that 3 nickels is better than 1 dime any day of the week. And I would rather you come here 3 times a week and buy something 3 times than only be able to afford it to come here once. Because not only are you going to have the same amount of pours, but you're going to meet new people each time. And so we try to keep our pours relatively competitive with everybody else, if not a little bit below. And with every pour, you get a cigarillo as well. Okay. And with every cocktail, you get a one of our house cigars. But this one specifically, man, I tell you what, and I'll drink Woodford. Obviously, I'll drink anything you probably put in front of me. But let's be real. I mean, we're here for a reason, right? Exactly. So, but this one, I don't know, it's kind of got a warmer, sweeter tone to it along with that oakiness, and it's just enjoyable. You know?
I think the finish on this is just one of those that, like, it's there, and it actually got better the longer you wait. The longer you let it go, it's a better finish.
Like a caramel chew or something when you're finishing.
Yeah.
So this is actually a weirder finish than most bourbons. The finish in this bourbon stays in your mouth. It doesn't linger at the back of your tongue and down your throat. So I get a lot of like the cordial cherry.
Oh yeah.
It's very enjoyable, and it stays like in the front of your mouth where a lot more of your taste buds are. So that's very interesting that usually the finish at the back of your tongue are going down your throat. So this
is right there.
Yeah.
So you guys know me, I always like to read what it says we're supposed to taste on this, right? And
What some interior designer said.
yeah. So it says notes of dark caramel, toasted oak, chocolate, baking spices, and a touch of coffee.
I'm not a big coffee drinker, but I guess I can taste that.
I drink coffee, but I don't really get the coffee here, but maybe a touch.
I think maybe a little bit more of the sweeter espresso flavor.
Yeah.
The dark caramel, definitely the dark caramel. But it, like you say, with some of the other bourbons, even this one, the Kentucky Owl, you follow that all the way down the back of your throat. This one, like you say, it stays at the tip of your tongue, and when you swallow it, it almost kind of just doesn't affect you. I mean, some of these will, I'm sure you guys know. You guys, last time I was at your house, and I'll probably be the last time I was at your house.
That was a good night.
Everything followed you down all the way, and you felt it all the way down. But this one, it stops after your taste buds, and you just get to taste everything, and it's surprisingly.
That was the night we did Paddy and stuff, right?
Oh,
You were
yeah.
happy that night with us?
Oh, yeah.
Well, and that was a night where we did a lot of stuff that was barrel proof too.
Yeah.
And I think all of us enjoy proof. But this is kind of a reminder that sometimes chasing proof can be a little bit false, right?
Right.
You can really enjoy a good 90 proof bottle if it's distilled well.
Absolutely.
You can enjoy a good 95. It's really about how it tastes, how all the flavors meld together. Heat for heat's sake is like, hot sauce that's chemically enhanced, right?
Yeah.
You just don't want to burn out your taste buds. You want that hot
Correct.
sauce that's got the flavor to it.
Correct.
But, chasing proof for proof's sake can sometimes be a bit faulty because there's so many good bourbons out there at 90, 95. I mean, a couple days ago was Bottled and Bond Day.
Right.
You can't go wrong with Bottled and Bonds. A solid 100 proof bourbon that's really distilled well just nails it.
Like I said, I tend to like the higher proof, but there's times when that higher proof isn't what it is. You have to be able to enjoy it. If it's a higher proof and it burns too much and it's just not worth it.
Right.
But this again, I drink this every day. Just because even though it's a lower proof, that's the reason why.
Yeah,
But
it's
it's enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you're gonna get all the flavor without. So a lot of the higher proof stuff for me, and we brought the stuff to do droplets of water, but so I'll put a couple drops in there just to get that proof down, to get more of that flavor out of it instead of just the burn. This obviously at a 90 proof.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to have the burn, but God, does it have the flavor built into it?
It does.
So one of the things Dan and I really like to do, I nose my bourbon a lot more than most people do, but as you go down the glass, before you take a drink, and this one especially, the flavor profile and the nose changes so much as it opens up in the glass.
And that's one thing that I've been trying to work with, our bartenders. So every bourbon that we have on the shelf, I won't crack it until somebody else does, until somebody buys a pour. But then at that point, every bartender I have will try that bourbon. So they know the burn, so they know the taste, they'll smell it. That way, if somebody buys like that River Roots hazmat that we have here, they need to know that's going to be hot. And if somebody asks for it, that they can say, hey, you know what you're getting here. It's going to be hot. It's going to have a good flavor on the tongue, but it's going to burn a little bit. So I'm trying to work with our bartenders to know the notes, know what will pair good with cigars, and like anything else, it's a learning curve, right?
Yeah.
I have the worst nose in the entire world. You might as well just forget it. I have sinuses like I live in Northern Ohio. So forget it, but I tell you what, my taste buds don't lie, and like this one, I can smell a little bit, and I can smell the changes, like you said, as it gets to breathe a little bit. The old saying goes, when they made moonshine, you would taste it with your finger on your tongue, right? And that would help you get through the heads, the hearts, and the tails. But the true taste would come once you put a coffee filter on that jar and let it breathe. And let it do its thing, and then you would taste it, and then you would really get those good corn tastes, or depending on what you had in your mash. But this is kind of doing the same thing. The more I let it sit, the more I smell it, and then the more I sip it, it almost gets a little better as it gets to air out a little bit. So it's really good.
All right. How about we start the other side this time with the.
So I'm a fan of standout flavors. This has just a ton of standouts. The cherry, the oakiness, and maybe a little bit of the chocolate in there as it opens up. So I actually like this a little bit better than the Kentucky Owl. So I'm gonna say about 4 or 5 on this.
That's exactly what I was saying. Just sitting here thinking, what am I going to say at 4 or 5? This for a double oak. I mean, it is phenomenal. I mean, it's one of those that I said earlier. I would drink this every day. I mean, it's not something you're going to get, enough to drink every day, but that's what I would do.
Yeah, similar for me. I mean, Woodford is one of those distilleries that it doesn't get the headlines that Buffalo Trace gets, that Wild Turkey even gets sometimes, but Woodford just pumps out solid products. I mean, their double oak, just the straight double oak, as a shelfer, is one of the best values in bourbon out there. I mean, if you can find a double oak cask strength, nail that thing, because you will absolutely love it. This double kind of takes that and turns it up to 11. For me, I'd even pump this up, and I give this a 4.6, 4.7. This is one of the pours I really enjoy.
I kind of echo some of your talk as far as Woodford goes. Double oak, the Woodford Double Oak that we have on the shelf, I can't keep it on the shelf. For those who like that extra little bit of oakiness in their bourbon, I'm constantly going through those bottles. And for me, these two are definitely different opposite ends of the spectrum. But and I like them both, but this one, like he said, had the more different flavors in it, some of that chocolate, some of that cherry. I'm going to go with Jay on this one and probably say a 4.7.
Nice.
Wow. So, I mean, like I said, this is the one I've been chasing for a long time. It hasn't disappointed. It's probably not as sweet, I think, as the one that I had in 22 or whatever it was. But, I mean, it was well worth the purchase. And I'm at that like 4.6. It's awesome. I mean, if I could buy a dozen of these, I'd buy a dozen of these every day.
I wish they were half the cost.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, even at the cost, just because I've been chasing it, it was well worth it.
Yeah.
Especially at MSRP and not. We talk about buying aftermarket, right, in secondary all the time. I've never bought secondary. Jason, I think, has bought a few, but yeah, I'm not a stand in line guy either. Like, if I can get it, I'm going to get it, but I'm not standing for 2 hours to get something.
Right? Well, and we talked about that a little bit in our last episode, right? But, you getting this on a Wednesday to Giant Eagle is living proof that the bourbon scene is changing somewhat, right? Because there's always the ebb and flow of people who are on something because it's hot. They're on bourbon, now they're moving more towards tequilas. So the availability is always going to ebb and flow. And right now we're in a bit of an ebb. Yeah. But the availability is really starting to pop up because all the distilleries put so much money into capacity over the last 6-7 years. And now it's all starting to hit the market. Yeah. So this is the time, if you're somebody that's patient and willing to wait and look for the right bottle, you can find those honey holes, and you can find those bottles that before you'd had to pay secondary, before you'd had to park your chair in line at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm old. I
A
got
lot of
tired
these
of
guys
that.
ramped up production in 2020
Yep.
when all that started happening,
Right.
and they boosted it, and now it's all starting to come out to fruition and getting a lot of this stuff. So
Right. That's the one thing that about being just an individual off the street going to Giant Eagle, like you said, going to the local liquor store. You know, we are bound by the state, you know, as far as what we can get. So we're constantly on the hunt with our distributors, with our local wholesalers. Say, hey, you know, if you get this in, don't even call me and ask me. Just put it on my order.
Just put it there.
Just put it there, let's do it. Like, I don't even, I won't question it one time. Because it is, you know, it's one of those things that oftentimes the guys on the street get to get some stuff that we can't even get, you know? I've got so many people that are going out of state, going to Kentucky, going to Indiana. They're like, hey, I can get you this. I'm like, but I can't sell it here, you know? So that's what's tough for us is we are bound by the state of Ohio, which is, you know, we won't go into that, but
Love the allocations.
right. But, you know, we're working on it. We're trying to get, you know, some different things in here. We're going to start doing some like small batch Sundays, where Sunday evenings, you know, I'm going to be working behind the bar. We're going to do some tastings with some small batch stuff. You know, it's just a matter of getting our hands on the right bottles that people want to try. And whether you're a cigar person or not, we will pair that with a cigar. And, you know, obviously we'll have some good charcuterie or some snacks along the way as well. We got a lot of folks that are working with us now. So, you know, being able to get some of this stuff, taste it with you guys, it means a lot because now I can reach out to some of my distributors and say, hey, what can you do for me? Let's try to get this. And so far, some of my distributors have been fantastic. And they have bent over backwards for me and got me some things that I really, really enjoy and that have sat on the shelf literally for 3-4 days. And that speaks volumes for the bourbon. So again, I can't thank you guys enough for allowing me to taste these two, for you guys being here in the building. It means a lot that, you know, that you guys who truly care about bourbon and all the different flavors and profiles and everything that goes into making bourbon. You know, I'm a little old school. You know, my family bloodline reaches back into Eastern Kentucky. You know, where moonshine was it.
Yeah.
And so, you know, a lot of folks ask me, hey, why don't you go to the Bourbon Trail? And it's like, well, I know what it's like to make the beginning, the moonshine, you know.
A little bit of
you
white
know,
lightning.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I had a great grandfather who was a sheriff in Eastern Kentucky who used to, I heard stories about him looking out with binoculars into the hills looking for smoke rising out of the hills,
Yeah.
you know, for moonshine stills. And then I had a grandpa who was served in World War II who had gangrene in his stomach because he drank the wrong moonshine, you know. So, you know, the history with bourbon and whiskeys definitely run through my bloodline, and that makes me appreciate what you guys are doing even more so, because it's more than just a liquid in a bottle.
Right.
You know, each bottle has a story. Each bottle has a recipe. And somebody put their heart and soul into making that as good as it can be for folks like us to be able to taste it and enjoy it. You know, and that means a lot.
Yeah, that's one of the things that we've talked about a lot when we sit around, before we started doing our podcast and doing our videos here. We would just sit around and talk about that. And it's like, you know what, we need to put this on and get this out there. And we're not the only people that do this. I mean,
Right.
Everybody else does the same thing, and they sit around and, you know, when you, like you said, that bottle right there, it's not just liquid. I mean, it brings it out and it gets you to, you know, do what men do and talk about fun stuff.
yeah,
Right,
Interesting stuff.
right.
Stuff that, like Jason said in our last episode, you know, it's changed a lot over the last 10, 15 years, what it means, and it makes a difference when you can sit down and do this with a group of guys.
For us, it's just about the friendship.
Yep.
You know, and we always say it. It's meant to be shared.
Yep.
Right. We
Oh,
open
sure.
these bottles. We don't. I mean, we care about what the price is, but if we buy it,
Mhm.
it from there on, it's not about what the price was. It's about opening that bottle and sharing it with each
Having
other.
a good
So-
time doing it too.
So we can talk and get together and, you know,
Yep.
I mean, there's plenty of times where we're having these kind of hard conversations like Jason said in the last one too. Like, you know, we go through challenges in life and,
Oh, yeah.
you know, this is just the one thing that kind of brings us together to talk about too, you know, so.
Dan, I mean, we truly appreciate you letting us come here and do this
Of
again.
course.
And like I said, it's one of those things that I hope we do come back and we do more stuff here, and we'll have you on again
No, I,
anytime. So
Definitely in for a barrel pick.
oh, yeah. I definitely think, I think that, you know, we could maybe do, when we find the right barrels that we want to do, that maybe we can do another podcast that's like live on site of that barrel pick.
yeah, absolutely.
You know, and I think that, you know, we're going to do our own labels here at the Crooked Leaf, and, you know, we could do something to where we work together and it's the Bourbon Bros and the Crooked Leaf. Because I like you said, this is one thing, you know, you do have folks that, some of us, I'm that guy sometimes too, who will occasionally have a drink on my own, but at the end of the day, you know, everybody's either having a cigar together and they're talking, they're having stories, they're laughing. And like us today, I mean, we just tried 2 different bourbons and we've sat here and talked about each one of them, you know, for 45 plus minutes. And I couldn't think of a better way to spend my day other than trying a couple good bourbons and hanging out with some guys that enjoy the same things, because
That's exactly it.
you know that's hard to find.
Yeah.
And so again, I echo your saying. I appreciate you guys, you know, being here and doing this with me, and you know, I look forward to doing some more stuff with you guys, and especially a barrel pick, because I think that would be fun. Get both of our, you know, collaborate with that, and I think that between all of us, between his nose and our taste, I think we can't go wrong.
Exactly.
You know, we can't go
right
wrong.
there.
So Dan, what's the address here, buddy? So
The
everybody
address here
knows?
is 600 Broadway. It's in the heart of downtown Lorain. We are directly across the street from the Palace Theater here. We are the only building that has the mirrored windows. You know, our hours are, we are open almost every single day of the year. We only close down during Thanksgiving and Christmas and one day on New Year's. But we're 11 a.m. till, you could almost say 10 p.m., 11 p.m. every single day. And we have folks here every day. And it's become home for a lot of people. And that means a lot to me, you know.
Do you have a website?
We do. It is thecrookedleaf.com. And if you go to the Crooked Leaf, thecrookedleaf.com, you can book a sauna, you can look at our current menu, you can look at our hours, you can reach out to us, ask questions if you have any. Our phone number is there. If I don't answer a question on our website, my number's there. You can call me and I'll answer it for you. So.
All right, guys. Well, I think this is going to wrap it up for us for this episode. You know, again, we've updated our website, so we've now got merchandise on there, so you can purchase the Bourbon with Bros stuff. Come check out Crooked Leaf, and I always say like and share, so everybody has to drink. But I see everybody's glasses are about empty, so they're going to have to report the last time some of the St. Paddy's. But thanks for joining us. We'll see you again real soon.
Cheers.